Hey everyone, how are you all doing? Welcome back to the channel. I am very happy that you are here with me once again, and in today's video I am going to talk about a case that shook France. But before we get into the video, I have a quick message for you. If you're a fan of true crime and mysteries, you're definitely going to love June's Journey. June's Journey is an incredibly engaging game filled with mysteries. Our goal as players is to guide the protagonist, June Parker, as she investigates the mysteries that unfold throughout the story and also solves a crime where the victim is someone very close to her. June is a determined woman who goes to great lengths to solve any mystery that comes her way. The game's environments are beautifully crafted, and there's a wide variety of characters. In addition, you can join clubs within the game to play with your family and friends. The atmosphere and plot are designed to truly transport you to the 1920s, the time period in which the story takes place, giving the game a very special feel. New chapters are released every week, so you'll never get bored as the game always brings something new. The best part is that the challenges really sharpen your detective skills. I'm sure you'll spend hours having fun and relaxing. I really enjoyed the game and play whenever I have time. The game is free, and you can download it through my QR code, which is on the screen, or via the link I'll leave in my pinned comment. You can play it both on your phone and on your computer or laptop. Come on everyone, let's show some support for the sponsor of this channel. Thank you so much for your support, June's Journey. In the early hours of November 25th to 26, 2022, the couple Leslie Hurlbeek and Kevin Trompat mysteriously vanished. Leslie was 22 years old and Kevin was 21. At the time of their disappearance, they were spending a few days at a friend's house in the small commune of Prahek, a place where almost everyone knows each other, as it has just over 2,000 residents. Prahek is part of the Deux-Sèvres department, located in the Nouvelle-Aquitaine region of France. It's known as a peaceful area, with beautiful landscapes and a welcoming community. The kind of place people move to when they're looking for a quieter life. However, the chilling case I'm about to tell you left a dark stain on the memories of those who lived there. As soon as the young couple's families lost contact with them, they felt that something was terribly wrong. It was completely out of character for the two to go off the grid, let alone disappear without saying a word. Because of this, the families immediately contacted the authorities and reported them missing. During the investigation, police discovered that the couple had arrived in Prahek on November 25th, around 5:30 p.m. They were supposed to spend the night at the home of a man named Nicolas Renou, a friend of Kevin's. Before that, the couple had dropped off some of their belongings and Leslie's dog, Onyx, at the house of Tom Trouillet, another friend who had lent them the place. Tom was a mutual friend of both Leslie and Kevin. In fact, he was the one who introduced them during a party. Both Nicholas's house and Tom's house were located on the same street and were about 33 feet apart. After handing over the keys to his place, Tom left for a party in the nearby town of La Crèche. Leslie and Kevin stayed alone at Tom's house and later decided to go over to Nicholas' place, bringing Onyx along. They spent a few hours at Nicholas' home, and around 3 a.m. they decided to head back to Tom's house to spend the night. However, after leaving Nicholas's house, the couple and their dog Onyx vanished without a trace. Nicolas Renou was the last person to see them. During interviews with the families, police learned that Leslie and Kevin had only been together for about 3 weeks. The couple lived in the French department of Charente-Maritime, which borders Deux-Sèvres, the department where they went missing. Their families said they had planned to spend a few days in the small commune of Prahek, staying at friends' houses. Leslie often brought Onyx along when visiting nearby places. She had Onyx for almost 3 years, and Kevin didn't mind her bringing the dog since he liked animals. Kevin's family said he loved nature and enjoyed hiking, something he and Leslie had in common. They also said Kevin was unemployed at the time, but he had recently bought a Mercedes Sprinter van and was renovating it with plans to turn it into a work vehicle. Kevin didn't have a very good childhood. His father was arrested when he was still very young, and from that point on, he had to learn to fend for himself, as the family started facing hardships. Leslie, on the other hand, was described by her family as an outgoing person who loved animals and being at parties. She made friends easily and was almost always surrounded by people. She had a twin brother to whom she was very close. Her mother had passed away a few years earlier, something that was very hard on her. According to sources, Leslie owned a business that offered painting services for homes and commercial buildings. The company was called LH Painting, L for Leslie and H for Hurlbeck. She wanted to have something of her own, something to be proud of, which is why she used her first and last name in the company's name. It's unclear exactly how long Leslie had been running the business, but what's known is that she had many clients. Before meeting Kevin, Leslie had been married for a few years, but things with her husband began to fall apart, and they separated in June 2022. According to sources, Leslie and Kevin met in October 2022. The couple had planned to take a few days off, specifically November 25th, 26th, and 27th. According to Kevin's mother, the young couple only planned to spend one day in Prague, which is where they disappeared. After that, they were going to another city called Bordeaux, a popular tourist destination in France. Since Nicholas was the last person to see the couple, he became a person of interest to the police, as he, in theory, could help them solve the disappearance. Kevin told the police that the day before the disappearance, Leslie had bought some clothes, and she and Kevin had planned to go to a party in the city together. However, after leaving the house of Tom Trouillet, the other friend who had lent them the house, the couple decided to spend some time with Nicholas at his place. Leslie's dog, Onyx, was with them. Nicholas said that around 2:30 a.m. he suggested the couple spend the night at his house if they wanted, but the couple said they would stay at Tom's house, which was very close. A few minutes later, the couple left Nicholas's home with the dog and headed toward Tom's house. They should have arrived in under a minute, as it was only about 33 feet away, but they never made it. Police also spoke with Tom Trouillet, but he only said he had been at a party and that the last time he saw the couple was when he left his house and gave them the keys. Tom said that when he returned, Kevin and Leslie were gone along with their belongings, leaving behind only a jacket, which the police seized as evidence. Tom told the police he didn't know anything else beyond that. A search was conducted by the police at both Tom's and Nicholas's houses. Investigators used luminol and other chemicals in an attempt to find traces of blood in both men's homes. But nothing was found. In addition to the couple's two friends who lived on the same street, police also spoke with other residents of the neighborhood who said they hadn't seen or heard anything unusual during the early hours of November 26th. At first, some people speculated that the couple had simply disappeared of their own will. The theory was that they might have been running from someone or just wanted to go on an adventure. The family strongly disagreed with these assumptions, saying they would never do something like that. Moreover, during a search of Kevin and Leslie's homes, police discovered that the couple hadn't taken many belongings, just enough for a few days away. Leslie's van, a white Peugeot partner she used for her building painting projects, was found parked in town. That was the vehicle Leslie and Kevin had been using to travel and intended to take to other cities. A quick search inside the van turned up nothing suspicious. Police also searched Kevin's Mercedes Sprinter van, which he had been renovating, but nothing suspicious was found there either. Because of this, early in the investigation, French authorities began to move away from the theory that the couple had disappeared voluntarily. The theory wasn't completely ruled out, but investigators decided to focus their efforts on other lines of inquiry. Another theory was that they had been hit by a vehicle and thrown into the woods, or that their bodies had been hidden by the driver responsible for the accident. However, no skid marks or any debris indicating a collision between a vehicle and a person were found. Typically, when a hit and run occurs, there are brake marks at the scene or vehicle fragments left behind, but nothing of the sort was found near the route the couple took on the day they vanished. In the following days, police searched the entire area surrounding the small commune of Prague. Search dogs were deployed, along with specialized forest search teams, and some volunteers, including family and friends, also joined the efforts. Divers helped as well, scanning the region's rivers and lakes, but despite all the effort, nothing was found. In a conversation with Kevin's stepmother, a woman named Corinne Pratt, authorities learned that Kevin had 10,000 euros with him at the time he disappeared along with his girlfriend and her dog. Corinne told police that she was the one who delivered the money to Kevin while he was staying at a friend's house. According to Corinne, the money was intended for the purchase of a car that belonged to someone Kevin knew. Corinne said that when she handed the money to her stepson, he seemed off, like he was afraid of something. She then asked Kevin if something had happened, to which he replied that there were some men in a car who seemed to be following him. After that, Corinne accompanied her stepson and Leslie to Tom's house, then returned to her city. According to her, that was the last time she had contact with the young couple. The information about the 10,000 euros Kevin had with him was highly valuable to the police. That money was not found during the authorities' searches of Nicholas and Tom's homes, the couple's two friends. This suggested that the motives behind Kevin and Leslie's disappearance could be linked to the 10,000 euros. During the investigation, police also discovered that Leslie's phone emitted a signal 12 hours after she disappeared. The signal was traced to the city of Niort, which is about 8.7 miles from Prague. Officers went to the city, conducted searches, and spoke with residents, asking if anyone had seen the couple. Nothing was found, and the residents they spoke with said they hadn't seen them. 3 days later, on November 29th, Kevin's phone also emitted a signal. When police traced it, they found that the signal came from the city of Fouras. Fouras is located in the department of Charente-Maritime and is over 80 kilometers from where the couple disappeared. Police also searched that city and spoke with locals, asking if they had seen the couple. But just like in Niort, police had no success in Fouras. There were no signs of the couple, and no one had seen them. As days went by, the case gained significant public attention, and the story of Leslie, Kevin, and Onyx's disappearance quickly spread across France. Naturally, many theories began to emerge, but none that could actually help the investigation at that time. On December 7th, French authorities made a public appeal during a nationally broadcast briefing. They asked anyone with any information about the young couple and the dog to come forward. That appeal paid off. The next day, on December 8th, an employee at a recycling company contacted police saying he had found some of the couple's belongings in a recycling bin. Among those items was Kevin's road safety certificate. It was that document that made the employee realize the belongings might be linked to the missing couple. The recycling company is located in the town of Puy-Revault, a commune also in the Charente-Maritime department, over 56 miles from the last place the couple had been seen. Police rushed to Puy-Revault and went to the recycling facility. There, along with Kevin's road safety certificate, officers recovered various clothes belonging to the couple, painting equipment owned by Leslie, and her makeup case. All these items were sent for analysis, which confirmed they belonged to the couple. The families were also given access to the recovered items and confirmed that all of them belonged to Kevin and Leslie. Regarding the shotgun shells, Kevin's family said they likely belonged to him, as they were similar to the ones he used for his fishing gun. With the discovery of these belongings, it became clear that the couple hadn't disappeared voluntarily. It made no sense for them to get rid of those personal items. Everything pointed to the involvement of one or more people in whatever had happened to them, and that possibility deeply shook the family. On December 12, 2022, authorities officially opened a kidnapping investigation. Search efforts continued, but no trace of the young couple or their dog was found. The family, filled with anguish, had to spend Christmas and New Year's without Kevin and Leslie. It was the first Christmas and New Year's the two had ever spent away from their families in years. In early January 2023, new searches were carried out. On January 2nd, a dog's body was found not far from where the couple had gone missing. The size and fur matched Onyx's, but due to the advanced state of decomposition, it wasn't possible to confirm whether it was indeed Leslie's dog. This new discovery left the couple's families even more desperate, because if the dog was Onyx, it strongly suggested that something terrible had happened to Kevin and Leslie. Leslie would never abandon her dog or do anything like that to him, so it was very likely that she and Kevin had met the same fate as the animal. On January 5th, dozens of volunteers gathered for another search. This search was organized by Corinne Pratt, Kevin's stepmother, who managed to bring together over 100 people through social media. A few days earlier, Corinne had visited a fortune teller who told her the search should focus on Prague and the surrounding areas. Altogether, they covered several miles in search of the couple or any trace of them, but nothing was found. On January 14th, another search was held, this time organized by Guy, Kevin's father, and his family. Journalists who were present reported that the whole operation was chaotic, there was no clear coordination, and many volunteers were lost and had no idea where they were supposed to search. Once again, the search yielded no results, and the mystery surrounding the disappearance of Kevin, Leslie, and Onyx remained unsolved. On February 28, 2023, French authorities arrested Tom Trouillet, who at the time was staying at his father's house. Just to remind you, Tom was a mutual friend of Leslie and Kevin. He was the one who introduced them and also the one who lent his house so they could spend the night on the day they disappeared. According to the police, Tom had been summoned multiple times to testify and his statements were inconsistent. This raised suspicions and led the authorities to consider him the prime suspect in the couple's disappearance. During the investigation, police found out that Tom had exchanged messages with Leslie shortly before she disappeared. In those messages, time-stamped at 2:53 a.m., Leslie told Tom she was feeling extremely unwell after taking a synthetic drug he had given her. On top of that, Tom's phone geolocation placed him in Prahek at the time the couple disappeared, information that contradicted his earlier statements. In his first interviews with the police, Tom claimed the last time he spoke with Leslie and Kevin was shortly before heading to a party in another town. He never mentioned the messages exchanged with Leslie just before she went missing. He also told investigators he spent the entire night at the party, but as mentioned, his phone data showed he had arrived in Prahek much earlier than he claimed. This indicated that Tom was in Prahek when the couple and their dog were abducted. To the authorities, it was clear that Tom was lying. And if he was lying, it was because he had something to hide. After his arrest, investigators decided to dig into Tom's life to determine whether he was really connected to the kidnapping and what his motives might have been. They discovered that he and Leslie had a brief romantic relationship in the past. According to people close to them, Tom never got over her and always wanted something more, while Leslie never took it seriously. Tom reportedly became resentful when Leslie asked him to introduce her to Kevin, a meeting that eventually led to their relationship. For the investigators, this could have been a motive behind the abduction. Still, they felt there was more to the story and kept digging before drawing any conclusions. There was also the possibility of a financial motive, since Kevin had $10,000 with him when he disappeared, and that money was never found. On March 1st, police arrested a second suspect, a 22-year-old man named Nathan Badji. Nathan was arrested on Ray Island in the Charente-Maritime region. He's a friend of Tom Trouillet, and authorities believe he played an active role in the abduction of Leslie, Kevin, and Onyx. His house is located just 0.19 miles from where the couple's belongings were found, abandoned inside a trash container. The next day, March 2nd, police arrested a third suspect, a 23-year-old man named Enzo Chalat, who was also a friend of Tom Trouillet. After questioning the three men separately, police obtained crucial information about Kevin and Leslie's whereabouts. On March 3rd, the body of Kevin Trompat was found buried in a field near Puy-Revault. Puy-Revault is over 56 miles from Prahek, the place where Kevin, his girlfriend, and her dog had gone missing. On March 4th, the body of Leslie Hurlbeck was discovered buried in a forest in Versen, just 9 miles from where Kevin's body was found. Both bodies were sent for examination, and a DNA test confirmed that the remains were indeed those of Kevin and Leslie, who had been missing for over 3 months. According to the medical examiner who performed the autopsies, both Kevin and Leslie had numerous injuries, including severe fractures and deep cuts. He stated that the wounds were likely caused by iron bars, baseball bats, and large knives, possibly even a machete. He concluded that the couple had been beaten to death. The cause of death for both was internal and external bleeding. According to the medical examiner, Leslie was not a victim of forced relations, something the authorities had suspected during the investigation. As for Onyx, Leslie's dog, the suspects claimed they abandoned him on a road near Prahek. However, police don't believe that version. If it were true, someone likely would have found the dog and reported it by now. The case gained major attention, and many photos of Leslie with Onyx were shared widely in the media and on social networks. Because of that, a lot of people in France were aware of the dog and would likely have recognized him if they had seen him. For the authorities, it's far more likely that the decomposed dog found on January 2nd was Onyx, even if it couldn't be officially confirmed. The discovery of Leslie Hurlbeck and Kevin Trompat's bodies devastated their families and friends. Even though they knew it was unlikely the two were still alive, deep down there was still some hope. The French media heavily covered the case after the discovery, and many people who had been following the story of the young couple were heartbroken. Kevin Trompat's funeral was held on March 16th in the French commune of Niort. Leslie Hurlbeck's funeral took place on March 18th in the commune of La Rochelle. Both funerals were attended by family and friends and were marked by deep sorrow and outrage. On April 12, 2023, police arrested 2 more suspects believed to be involved in the crime. They were identified as Stephen Mathieu, 24, and Mikhail Zadi, 22. With their arrests, all 5 men were formally charged with kidnapping, murder, and concealment of a corpse. Through evidence gathered during the investigation, police were able to reconstruct the sequence of events leading up to the crime that night. According to what was uncovered after leaving Nicholas Renou's house around 3 a.m., Kevin, Leslie, and Onyx went to Tom Trouillet's house where they were supposed to spend the night. It's worth noting that Nicholas Renou's and Tom Trouillet's houses are on the same street, just a few meters apart. When they arrived at Tom's place, he wasn't there. That's when Leslie messaged him saying she felt extremely unwell due to the synthetic drug he had given her. Just minutes later, Tom arrived, contrary to what he had told police, claiming he was at a party in another city and only returned home hours later. Leslie, Kevin, and Tom spent about 30 minutes talking, drinking beer, and using drugs. Meanwhile, Nathan, Enzo, Stephen, and Mikhail pulled up in a van and parked in front of the house. The 4 men waited for Tom's signal to move in. Tom had planned everything in advance, and each of the men knew exactly what they were supposed to do. Shortly after, Tom sent a message to one of them, and the group entered the house. They were armed with hammers, iron bars, knives, and even a sword. Leslie and Kevin were completely caught off guard and had no idea what was happening. Everything happened so fast, they had no time to react. Kevin was struck multiple times with a hammer by Nathan, while Leslie was quickly overpowered by Tom. After that, the couple and the dog were forced into the van and taken to a remote area. Their personal belongings were also taken. As mentioned earlier, the suspects claimed they abandoned the dog on a roadside, but authorities believe they killed it too. Once they reached the isolated area, Tom allegedly struck Kevin several more times with a hammer. At this point, the suspects' testimonies began to differ. Tom claimed everyone participated in the attack on Kevin, while Enzo, Stephen, and Mikhail said only Nathan and Tom were responsible. Regardless, Kevin was brutally assaulted and died from the injuries. Then, according to Nathan and Enzo's statements, Tom used the sword to kill Leslie. With both Kevin and Leslie dead, the 5 men went to a field in Puyrevalt, where they buried Kevin's body, and then to a forest in Versen, where they buried Leslie. Here, the sources present another contradiction. Some claim that Kevin and Leslie were buried the same day they were killed, while others state that the bodies were hidden in a wooded area near Prahek for 2 days before being moved to the burial sites. In that version, the 5 suspects allegedly returned to where the bodies had been hidden and transported them to the forests where they were ultimately buried. Continuing, on the same day of the murders, the group returned to Prahek. Tom stayed behind at his house to clean up the crime scene, while Nathan, Enzo, Stephen, and Mikkel split into 2 teams, one to clean the van and the other to dispose of the victims' belongings. According to the police, the motive behind the crime was a mix of factors. Aside from Tom's resentment toward Leslie, feeling rejected by her, there was also a financial dispute between him and Kevin. In his testimony, Tom claimed Kevin was a drug dealer who owed him over $30,000. He said he was tired of being constantly pressured by Kevin to pay up, so he decided to eliminate him, and in doing so, erase the debt. Tom also alleged that some of the other men involved owed Kevin money as well, though he couldn't specify who or how much. When asked about the $10,000 Kevin had with him, Tom said the amount was split among all the perpetrators, and each used their share however they wanted. Kevin's family denied Tom's claim that Kevin was a drug dealer. To them, the accused made up the entire story in an attempt to defame the victims. Guy Trompat, Kevin's father, was released from prison around the same time the investigation into the murder of his son and Leslie was unfolding. He organized a memorial march in honor of the couple, which drew hundreds of people. During the event, he gave a statement saying the 5 men arrested had destroyed both his family and Leslie's, and that he didn't know how he would go on without his son. Guy became deeply depressed after learning what had happened to Kevin. He began relying on medication and lost about 26.5 pounds in a short period. On May 3, 2023, Guy Trompat was arrested for allegedly plotting to have the 5 suspects killed while they were in prison. According to sources, Guy had offered $100,000 to anyone who could eliminate the 5 men behind bars. He denied the accusations, claiming it was a friend of his who devised the plan in an attempt to help him. He went to trial in June 2023, was sentenced to 18 months in prison, and was banned from owning firearms for 5 years. Later, however, his conviction was overturned, and Guy remains free. Marie-Therese Garcia, a 77-year-old aunt of Kevin, was also arrested after threatening the accused. Marie allegedly posted the following on social media: "The police better catch the bastards before I find out who they are, because if I find them first, I'll bring their body parts to the police in a suitcase." But the threats weren't the only reason for her arrest. Police claimed that Marie had been part of an organized gang of thieves responsible for numerous crimes in the 1980s and 1990s. Among those crimes were robbery, kidnapping, and murder. Marie is even one of the main suspects in the death of Corinne Didio, which occurred in 1995. Corinne's body was found dismembered inside a suitcase, exactly how Marie had threatened to deal with the suspects in Leslie and Kevin's case. Marie was detained for a few days and later released after being heard by a judge. On March 18, 2025, Nathan Badgie was released from prison after the court accepted a request from his defense, which pointed to a procedural error. That error involved an email that was sent to the wrong address. The email contained the date of a hearing regarding the renewal of Nathan's detention warrant and was supposed to be sent to his lawyer. Instead, it went to a different address, and the lawyer didn't attend the hearing due to the lack of proper notification. Because of that, the defense argued that Nathan was being held illegally and filed a motion that the court accepted, leading to his release. The families of Kevin and Leslie were outraged by the decision, calling it absurd. Although Nathan was released, he must follow several restrictions imposed by the court, including not leaving the city where he resides. He will remain free while awaiting trial. Currently, Tom, Enzo, Stephen, and Mikhail are still in custody, awaiting their trials, which according to sources are expected to take place later this year. Under French law, they could face life imprisonment, with the possibility of parole after 30 years. Before we wrap up, I kindly ask you to check out the game June's Journey. Like I said earlier, I'm sure you'll have a great time and spend hours playing it. Just scan the QR code on your screen. It will take you straight to the download page. Thank you so much for watching until the end, and I'll see you in the next video.